Do we only learn through pain as human beings? I have a friend who thinks that she only learns through pain. Like, that's her thing. I don't agree. And I can't talk to her about this. I try, but she's built her entire philosophy of life around this, that pain is the only way she learns, right? And I think that is not always the case. In fact, I think personally, and this is why I make these videos, because I can't talk to her, but I personally think that learning through pain is the beginning of learning. Like, that's the I don't want to say this to her necessarily, and I don't want to talk down to her, but it's the childish way to learn, right? Don't touch the stove. So what does the kid do? Touch the stove, and then it knows, right? But after you've done that, now you can, go to someone else, like you go to, say, 10th grade chemistry class, and your professor says, look, this crucible is really hot. If you touch this, it is going to sear into your flesh and maybe become part of you. Like, it looks cold, but it's hot. He taught me this. I still remember. Hot things look cold. So, not always, but sometimes. So I never touched the crucible. I never did. And, because I had learned. So I learned not to touch the crucible. I didn't have to feel pain in order to do that, right? So that's why I think that it's a very simplistic argument. The example that comes to mind is Zeno, the ancient Greek philosopher. You can look him up. He has this analogy, okay, of a dog being attached to a cart, okay? So the cart is going, and the dog has a couple choices, right? The dog can follow the cart if it wants to. It can be like, hey, look at that cart. I'm tied to it. It may or may not know it's tied to it at the time, but it says, I'm going to follow this cart. So it does. Excuse me, I'm coming up on getting over a cold, and I'll tell you about that, how that affects what I'm talking about. So the dog can follow the cart and be like, hey, I'm a dog and I'm following the cart, and look at these happy humans and I'm part of the group and everything's great. And it doesn't have to feel the pain, right, of if it doesn't follow the cart, if it chooses to go in an opposite direction, it's going to reach the limit of the rope, right, and feel the pain of not being able to resist against the rope. And it's going to go with the cart anyway, right? It's going to get dragged along anyway, right? And life is like that sometimes, isn't it? Just like this cold that I have right now, okay? This cold is the cart. It's gonna happen. The cold is going to happen whether I want it to or not. So I can sit here and say, well, I'm not gonna make that video because my nose is stuffed up and I'm gonna sound weird and I might cough during the video. And I can resist it, right? I can do that. Life, I can resist that. Or I can say, you know what? I'm going to be happy. I'm not happy I have the cold, but while I have the cold, I'm going to be happy as content as possible. And I'm going to do what I do normally anyway and go along with it, right? And, I have choices on how to treat it and how to treat myself while I'm nursing it. But the least amount of resistance to it is probably going to have the best outcome, right? So I don't have to feel pain during this, right? I mean, I might feel actual physical symptoms of discomfort. I might get a sore throat or something like that. But, a headache from coughing too much. But that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about emotional pain, right? Pain. I don't have to suffer through this, okay? I can just say, hey, it's a cold and eventually it's going to go away. I hope. Although the older you get, the more you think sometimes these things aren't going to go away. And it's going to be a permanent condition. But anyway, I'm pretty confident this is going to go away, so thanks. But anyway, those are my thoughts. What do you guys think? Do you think that you can only learn through pain, or is it possible to learn and still be happy? I mean, I think that I'm incentivized. Put it in the comments. I'm more of an incentivized. I'm going to tell you how I tick. I'm more of an incentive guy, right? You give me a positive reason to do something, and I'll probably do it. If you give me a negative reason, I'll more than likely ignore you, or I might actively resist it. For instance, if my wife says, if there's a bunch of dishes, she wants me to do the dishes, she might say something like, there's a bunch of dishes in the sink. Now, I'm smart. I get the clue. In reality, I'd probably just do the dishes. But for the purposes of this example, I'm less likely to be happy about doing those dishes than if she were to say something like, you know what? If somebody in this house did the dishes, I would probably take them out for sushi, you know? That's a better way to get me to do something, right? That's a motivation. That's a positive thing. It's not negative. Give it a try. See if that works. I don't know if that's what works for you, but I'd love to hear from you, so let me know what you think. And if you want to hear more about this kind of Stoic philosophy, let me know, because most of the Stoic videos I watch, which some of them are good, are like, this really like buff statue and somebody in a deep voice saying, Zeno said, if a dog is tied to a cart, then I don't know. This works for me better. So if it works for you, smash like, and I'll see you on the next one. Thanks a lot. Take care.